Welcome to the Fusion Power Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Gillespie, CSO and owner here at Fusion Power. Today, we've got an awesome episode today. We're going to be talking about taking our business from third gear to fifth gear. And before I introduce my guest today, I want to show a quick clip of what I think is probably one of the most perfect movies ever made, and that's Top Gun Maverick. Everybody's seen that movie, right? Of
course. Yep.
So I'm going to show just a quick clip of the opening scene here. And this is when, if you remember, Maverick is trying to prove that they can hit Mach 10 in order to keep the program alive, because it's going to get chopped. So the most that anybody had done before, I think, at least according to the movie, was getting up to Mach 9, and he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing to get that next level of Mach 10. So let's watch this really quick.
Mach 9.3. 9.4. 9.4. Approaching high hypersonic.
Such a cool shot.
Just imagine that.
9.7.
Windshield hot caution.
The windshield's starting to melt. Dude, you know he was flying this plane, right? Like, he was up there doing this
For real?
stuff.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't even be able to move going that fast.
No.
You just push back in your
9.8.
seat.
Oh, like they would pass out all the time filming this thing.
Oh my gosh.
From those G's.
Dedication.
9.9. Push it, Tom.
Got it.
You do it.
Ten.
So he really went 10 Gs?
I don't know if he hit that himself, if that part was actually real, but he did actually fly in those planes for a lot of those shots. Yeah.
That's cool.
Breaking
All right.
records.
Well, super cool scene. If you haven't seen the movie, you got to go just spend your weekend and watch that movie because it's awesome. But I show that because what we want to talk about here is taking your business to the next level. He's going from 9.1, 9.2 all the way up to 10, which is a huge, huge feat, right? So today on my podcast, I've got two good buddies with me here. They've been with us at Fusion for the last couple years. Barry's here.
What's up?
And Mike Zepeda's here as well.
What's up? What up?
So, Barry, I'm going to give you just a couple of your numbers here. Tell me if this sounds right, okay? So, Barry, last year, you were a lead setter.
Yep,
all
all year.
All during 2022. You set 112 appointments. 48 of those closed. So, your percentage of sit to close was unbelievably high.
That's
just
pretty
as a
good.
lead setter. That's really good.
Yeah.
And then out of the 48, 29 of them netted out. So, we can blame that on whoever was closing your deals for you for cancels.
Wasn't
but,
me.
Was it you?
It wasn't me.
But it's still a really, really good first year there. This year as a closer, and you graduated, January, right? Right
Yeah,
at the start of the
first
year?
week of January.
Perfect. So this year as a closer, you've already sold 27 gross deals.
Yep.
You're
Add two more to that from this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So you're at 29 then. And then you're sitting at 21 net. So really good cancellation ratio on that as well. But you're pacing to hit 81 gross with 63 net, which would be a 100% increase year over year.
That's massive.
Pretty awesome.
That's exciting to hear
Pretty
when you
awesome.
break it down like that.
That's awesome, right? Mike, your stats. You ready for these? Mm-hmm. You text me for these, and I'm like, I'm going to make you wait till tomorrow. So last year as a closer, you did 87 gross and 55 netted out. This year, you already have 38 gross with 26 net, pacing to hit 114 gross and 78 net, which would be an increase of 42% year over year.
It's pretty solid.
That's pretty awesome. So both of you guys have figured out how to do what Maverick's done here. You're taking it from 9 to 10 on that scale, right?
Correct.
So that's what I want to kind of talk about today. But I want to give you guys a couple warm-up questions as we get started here, okay?
Let's do it.
So really quick, just give me some backgrounds. Where are you from, previous jobs, how'd you get into sales, and then how did you get recruited to Fusion? Give me 30 seconds each. Why don't you start, Mike?
I'm from Santa Maria, California, so I'm a Cali boy. I got into sales when I was like 19, and I got into like network marketing, and then eventually moved into the car business. And then one of my buddies, his name's Jared. He's actually no longer with the company, but he actually was the one that recruited me, brought me in here, and been killing it ever since.
And you've been here for about 3-ish
Yeah,
years now,
it's going
right?
on my third year.
Awesome.
So this is the longest job I've ever had in my life. I love it.
Good. How about you, Barry?
Same. I grew up with Mike. We grew up in Santa Maria, California. I bounced around for a while. Ended up bartending for a long time. Then I did construction. I bagged out cement and palletized 100-pound bags of cement for a couple of years. The whole time Mike was trying to get me, when he was in the car business, trying to do cars with him. I wouldn't do it. And then I saw him at the barber shop, and he started talking about solar. I put my 2 weeks in, and I ain't looked back since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you like most about selling solar?
Man, it's fun. Like it's an amazing job. Like I love talking to people. I'm a people person, so I'm literally just talking to people all day, helping people out. I love solar. I'm passionate about it. I have it at my house. I always joke around like I drink the Kool-Aid, and I drink it every day when I look at my utility bill, and it's just really fun to do something that you really love.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mike, would you add anything to that about as far as what you love about selling solar?
Yeah, man. I just love the fact that you're able to go out there and create your own paycheck. You're not capped out like, oh, you're working an hourly job. This is how many hours you're going to work a week. You could literally go out there and do whatever you want, or you can do as little as you want. So you get in what you put out in this job. And one thing that I do love about it is that, like, I have time freedom. I'm able to spend time with my daughter, which is the most important thing to me. She's going to be 4 this year. So, from 0 to 4 is like a really creative age right there. So you definitely want to be there. So I'm able to be present. I'm able to do what I want to do, and then able to like go and close down some deals.
Love it. What would you say, how have Fusion's core values affected the way that you have approached sales?
The tenacious grit is definitely what was like a big changer for me. Just being able to dig down deep and find these extra gears that I didn't know that I had, especially when like the competitions come into play, and like, you're working with your mentors and stuff like that, working with Luke, he's really pushing you to dig down deep and find those extra deals. And, I'm making calls, I'm knocking doors, I'm sitting in the car because it's 120-degree weather and we just hit like 40 doors in a row. So now I'm sitting in the car with the AC on and I'm making phone calls now, so I'm just always trying to do something to get to the next gear.
Love it. Barry, how have Fusion's core values affected your personal life, if at all?
My personal life, a lot. It's just like it's focusing on a lot more stuff. It's put my family first. A lot of my life I didn't do that, and it's really just changed my whole outlook on life a lot. It's like I look back 2 years ago to the type of person I was to what I am now, and it's just completely different. Just doing the best for myself to make sure my daughter will prosper, my family will prosper, and the tenacious grit. I've always been a hard worker. I've always just busted my butt, and it's now I'm busting my butt and actually making a difference. It's like I see a light now. Before it was just boulders and boulders.
Just
and
going
now
with
I can
the flow.
Yeah, going with the flow. And it's finally my hard work. I feel like is actually starting to pay off, and I keep working harder.
Love it.
The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things that I admire and love about you guys, coming into this and being relatively new to the industry, especially you from the closing side of it, but just it's the grind.
Yeah.
100%. Right? I think all 3 of us would probably be the first to admit that there are far better salespeople out there than all 3 of us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the drive to work hard, that tenacious grit, is one of the differentiators there. And that's one of those things that allows you to level up, I think. But let's talk a little bit more about leveling up. In general, Mike, what are some of the things that you've done different this year than you did last year that's kind of gotten you to this new level?
Well, one thing that I did is I wrote out a script for my team, and now I role play with it. Like, so I will literally sit there, make them come to my house, knock on my door. I'll open up the door, act like I'm the customer. I got Barry with me too. We got our whole squad there. Everyone's saying the same thing. We're all on the same page. We're creating a duplicatable process, and just role playing a lot and just being out there on the doors, leading from the front. So when I had my team last year, I was a new closer, so I wasn't as good of a mentor. But you go through trials and tribulations and you learn, and so I'm always just trying to do stuff better.
Cool. Barry, what would you say that you've done to level up this year?
Well, I took the step and we started closing. I set appointments for almost a year and a half. I was always scared. Mike's always busting me up. He's like, you need to start closing. And I finally just jumped off and started doing it. I was really scared. My first appointment, I was just telling him about it. I totally bombed it, But it was just taking that step to do it and then trying to teach my guys what I know.
What made you decide to make that change, though? Because, you made decent money last year as a lead setter. Obviously, you had a really good, you were the top lead setter. You got the award for that and all that kind of stuff. What made you want to make that change to level up? Because it's a new challenge. It's a new risk. It's not comfortable. What made you want to make that change?
You said it, comfortable. I was super comfortable setting appointments. It was time to get out of my comfort zone and grow. With just staying comfortable, you're not going to get anywhere. And it was time to step out of there and reach out and do it. And start grabbing some guys to come with me. I feel like I'm pretty good on the doors, and I try to pass that on to my guys as well. So we do the training with Mike and stuff at his house, my place. It's constantly trying to train the guys to teach them, what I know. If I could pass it on to them, then hopefully they can be just as successful as I've been.
Huge. Mike, you talked about the word team, right? You guys are getting together often doing these team trainings. Last year, you had, a couple guys that you were working with, but you guys have really pushed and put a big focus on building out a team. How has that affected your personal performance having a team?
It's helped me big time because now I'm like so busy just running appointments, and it sucks sometimes because I'm not able to be out there in the field with my guys, grinding and, knocking as many doors, but I promise I'm like, if you just get me into the door, I will close it still. So they put their trust in me. I put my trust in them for them to keep me busy. And, it's nice not having to always go knock 100 doors a day and just show up to these appointments. So it's definitely helped me out big time because I have all the support from them, and then they got all the support from me.
Barry, what's the new level of production done for your self-confidence and just the way that you view yourself?
It's good. Like, I just feel like I'm on top, and I just feel like growing the team, like I see all these guys on top my first month. I'm like, how are these guys doing it? And it's like, they got a team, and it's like, okay, I could do the same thing. And I actually had, it's getting these guys to come out and put their trust in me. It just puts more responsibility on me, and I kind of like that role. I've always been a leader, and it just gives me a chance to now lead and step out of that comfort zone.
Such an easy equation or such an easy recipe, right? It's like, I can do what I can do by myself, but if I can have 2 or 3 guys, all of a sudden I multiply. It's exponential.
Massive.
It's exponential.
It's like the movie 300. You don't need a big old whole army. You just need 300. Some solid dudes.
Let me ask you this, Mike. What vision has your growth that you've had so far? What vision has that given you for your growth in the future? Where do you see this going?
It's kind of rekindled the flame in me because when I was real young, I got into like network marketing, and I was like, 19, 20 years old, and I thought I was gonna be a millionaire by the time I was 21. And, you get a taste of life and reality, comes and gives you some humble pie, So then I got into like the car business and stuff like that. And I was making really good money in the car business. I'm a really good salesman. But like, I wasn't like planning on being a millionaire anymore. I was just cool with making like $10,000 a month. That was like my goal. And then now that I got back into the solar industry, I'm worried about making $10,000 a week. And obviously money's not everything, but it's just a byproduct of the type of person that you come, so it's made me be a better person. It's made me want to grow more. It's made me want to be a leader and someone that my family can look up to, my kids, and then like my future generation. So 50 years from now, or 60 years from now, like when I'm gone, I want them to have a picture of me on there, like, hey, this is Grandpa Mike right here, he set the tone. Abuelo.
Barry, where do you see the track that you're on right now? Where do you see that taking you?
To places unimaginable. It's I've never even envisioned myself making this kind of money. I grew up like a really rough kid. Like, I'm a retired convict, so this year has put like goals and things that I can actually obtain that I never would have even thought of before in my life. It's massive. I'm right behind Mike. I'm buying a house now. I never in my life would have thought I would have owned a house. And it's like, now it's like, that's just going to be the first one. And it just made me a different person. I love it.
Why do you think that not everybody can do this job? Like, you just said, like, this has been life-changing for you, completely life-changing on all these different levels, right?
Yeah.
Why can't everybody, is it that they don't see it? Is it that they can't do it? Why can't other people do what you've done?
People don't have the self-control, I feel like, because it's like I have no boss. I'm my boss. So I feel like I have to tell myself to get out there and go knock doors when a lot of people can just make excuses instead of taking action. So it's like, people can come up with excuses all day not to go out and work. And if you ain't got someone where you're going to lose your job if you don't go out and work, I mean, I pretty much tell my guys they will if they don't. But, yeah, like, this ain't an option. You're going to work for me. But people don't have that rock over them where they have to do it. It's up to you. People don't have that control. And it's getting out there knocking doors, and you get told no all day. So
then where does that drive come from? Where does that self-discipline, where does that willingness to commit when you don't have somebody making you do it? Where does that come from?
Well, me personally, it came from, this was my only option. I had gotten in trouble in like 2020, and unfortunately I wasn't able to sell cars anymore. So I had a big reality check, and I literally had no option but to make this work. And, people could either find a way or they can find an excuse. So I just found a way, and I did whatever it took. I was investing into myself, doing personal development, trying to change my character and do everything I can to just get to the next level and make this work. And I literally had no choice. And so sometimes I think when your back's against the wall and this is the only option, like I'm a big believer in burning your bridges, burn them all. And, there's no retreat. Like, let's just go out there and let's just go to war.
I think there's a really good thing that you hit there was, you had no choice, but I think that the mentality of taking away choice is so powerful.
It is.
Even if I have a choice to go do a million different things, which we all do on a day-to-day basis, I can go sit in my car and scroll through Instagram or watch TikTok if I want, or I can take away that choice and commit to, I said I was going to knock a certain number of hours this week. I said I was going to get a certain number of contacts, And if I do that, it's going to end up giving me an output of the number of sales that I committed to doing. And so I think it really just comes down to that we have to be able to take away all of those other options and just focus 100% on what we say we're going to do.
Discipline.
And another thing too is fear of like regret, because I don't want to regret like, hey, I didn't give this opportunity everything I had, and me be sitting back 20 years from now like, dang, if I would have just gave it everything I had. Because at the end of the day, it's not fun knocking doors. It's not. It's it's tough. It's hard. You get told no all day. But I'm like, if I just give it everything I got, I'm going to be in pain anyway. So am I going to want to feel the pain of being successful, or am I going to want to feel the pain of regret? Either way, you're going to feel that pain.
Love it.
Dude,
But which pain do you want to feel, baby?
Yeah. I've had lazy days, and when I fell into that trap, right? And it's like, I'm just gonna kick it at home, whatever.
Get a fat check.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm fed, I'm good, right? And it's at the end of that day, I don't feel good. When I go out, I could knock 100 doors and not get anything, but when I come home, I feel good because I went out to work.
You feel accomplished.
And I'd much rather have that feeling than that, again, the comfortable feeling. It's the accomplishment.
So we've identified two major components here. Is going to be discipline and hard work is going to be one way to level up. Number two is going to be able to duplicate our efforts through team building, right? Correct. So let's talk a little bit more about team building and recruiting. How do I recruit a team, and how do I make sure I'm getting the right people on my team? How do I get you guys on my team? Because it's you guys, you people that also have that kind of discipline that are going to drive and be able to actually have a productive team. How do we find those guys, and what are some of the things that you guys have done?
What I've done mostly is through social media. I'm just posting the daily grind of like what I'm doing. A lot of times people will be like, man, you seem like you're never at work, but then you like boom, boom, boom. A little bit later, I'll post like 3-4 deals in a day, closing down some deals, but I'm spending time with my daughter early in the morning, and, and people are like, dang, what are you doing? Like, so a lot of times people that I've worked with in the past, they just see that I'm making a lot of money and I'm doing really well for myself. I'm about to buy a house right now. My whole character is completely different from like this opportunity. So people are like, what's going on, man? Like, I want to live that life, and people hit me up all the time. And I feel like people are attracted to the energy in the hard work that I'm bringing. And so other people are just coming into like my vortex and, hitting me up and coming towards me.
Putting it out there, but it's also identifying the people in your life that you've grown up with. Like, I know that guy could do good at this job.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I've been telling him his whole life. I'm like, bro, I was like trying to recruit him, and then, yeah. But anyways, long story short, he's here now. That's all that matters.
So
but I told him, I'm like, dude, he's so funny. And that's one of his great like assets on the door is like, he just makes people laugh, and like, he's a normal human being. He's not like a robot. I'm over here with fusion power. He's making people laugh. And I was like, dude, you would kill it at this job just because, just your demeanor and your attitude.
But the fact that you went out and told him that and said, you need to come try this, right? There's a lot of guys that are in the industry. It's like, I'm just going to do my thing. I'm just going to keep selling, grind on my own. But it's like, think outside of that. Who do I know that could be really good at this?
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, and I got some of my buddies that I've been trying to recruit that are in the car business now. One of my boys is named Sergio. I've been trying to get him to come out here, and I know he would absolutely kill it, because he was my sales manager, and he's younger than me, and he's a stud. So there is people that I've reached out to and stuff like that as well.
It's got to keep reaching out to those guys.
He's the best recruiter. This dude is constantly recruiting people nonstop. I'm horrible at it. I've been here. Well, actually, one of the guys on my team right now that's killing it, Adam West. I've been trying to recruit him since the day I started here, and he finally came out this year.
But he finally came out, and how's he doing?
He's killing it. He's
doing
got
great,
9?
right?
I think 9 deals.
He's been here for like 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months. He's got 9 deals, man.
But that's the point. Is
killing it.
Sometimes your best recruits are the hardest ones to get.
Man,
right.
Example A and B right there. Let me ask you this. So you guys talked about these kind of team trainings that you're doing. Give me a little bit more of an insight. What does that team training look like? How do you develop these recruits? Because we're trying to get guys that naturally have those skills of hard work and tenacity and discipline. As far as the sales skill, to make sure that they're equipped and competent to have success, because we got to set them up for success. You guys talked about these awesome role play things that you're doing at your houses. Give me a little bit more. Kind of tell me what that looks like. How often are you doing it? What does the routine look like? How long do you spend before you get on the doors? Give me some background on that.
I try to do it different than I was taught, Someone just told me to get on the other side of the street and start knocking, But we literally have we have a script worked out for these guys, and we're literally actually we'll be at Mike's apartment, and we're literally having them knock on the door, and we're like, I'm the customer, right? And we're hitting them with the objections. You start off easy, then you work your way. You hit them with these different objections, and I mean, we've done this for a long time. We pretty much know what to say for almost everything. Not does it always work, but we could show them different ways to say things, and it's just giving them. It's role play. It's practice, right? You don't just go start playing basketball, game time. You practice, and that's exactly what this is just practicing for these guys.
How much of a difference do you think that's made in their confidence and their ability to perform on the doors?
I think it's made a huge difference because they're already familiar with the objections. They're familiar with what's going to be told to them, And we work on body language. Like, and if they don't know the script, like I'm making them read the script, like in front, word for word. I'm like, I don't want to hear your words in it right now. I want you to master this script, learn it 100%. And then after you like know it by the back of your hand, then you can start implementing your own words and your own verbiage and stuff like that. But the way I wrote it out, it just flows. It's literally like a roadmap to a sale. It's so easy. And, you know, and I have them like, cause we hold slicks and stuff like that when we're knocking and we're showing them. And then like, you know, literally we'll role play from everything from point A to point Z. And I'm just telling them, I'm like, you need to be standing like this. You need to be looking like this. When he says this, you need to say that, you know. And it's also too, like when you're on the doors, you have to be really diffusing because you're constantly trying to buy time. So one thing is like these little extra things. I'm like, hey, you know, it's not something that we could do right now anyways, you know, but before we get going, and I'll like even take a step back before I get going. It's like a high electric bill for you here in the summertime. It's body language, you know? And so people are like, oh, okay, he's not trying to like sell me solar right now, you know? So
those little things that you're able to do outside of the field training is so important, right? Because you can pause them in their pitch and say, hold on, let me have you try this, right?
Exactly.
Diffuse this by stepping back and lowering that buying pressure a little bit. But, you know, you guys, I don't know if you guys are watching the playoffs right now, but, you know, last night Golden State blew out the Lakers.
Yeah, I know.
And, you know, by the end of the game, you have both benches are just, you know, the starters are gone as both the bench teams playing, right? It's a completely different game when you watch those players that don't get to spend a lot of time on the court. They play completely different because they just don't play at the same level.
Yeah.
And if we have a new recruit that we just send out into the field, they're going to be like those guys that don't have the flow, right?
Yeah, you're feeding them to the wolves.
When you're working with them one-on-one, they can go in there and they can play more like a starter because they've had that practice, that game time practice.
They know how to swim.
Exactly.
You know, sink or swim sometimes, but it's when you get some floaties up there, it's going to help you swim.
Let me ask you this, you guys. How do you keep your recruits accountable to hitting their goals and being out on the doors? Because it's hot.
I lead by example. I'm out there knocking. I'm out there. I mean, if I got appointments all day, I still try to get out there in the mornings and knock. Yeah. It's not the best time, but I'm out there knocking. I'm asking these guys need to do what I'm doing. I'm not going to ask them to go out and knock if I'm not knocking, right? So it's I lead by example. Everything that I'm asking them to do, I'm doing plus 20, you know?
I appreciate that so much, and I think that is one of the biggest keys here. I've seen so many times over the last several years where somebody does really well on their own. They hire somebody else that sets their leads for them, and then they stop producing on their own.
Yeah.
And now their volume doesn't increase. All they've done is replace their own volume with somebody else's volume, and there's no growth in that.
Right.
And it's very, very discouraging for that guy. It's like, well, what am I doing? I'm out there working for him, and he doesn't do anything. But when you're leading and you're saying, I can outgrind any of you guys, and I can outperform any of you guys, that's inspiring. And they're like, I want to work for Barry, dude. That guy, not only does he close my deals for me, he's out there showing me how to do it. I am loyal to that guy.
And I help them. You know, sometimes like they're struggling on the door, I help them. I come in and I get the appointment, and that's still theirs. You know, like they started that, they initiated that. Yeah, they needed some help, but I still let them get that. You know, because they're out there working. If you're working, I'm gonna help you out 100%. I have no problem doing that. You know, and it gives them motivation. Yeah, reward the hustlers. You're out there busting your butt, dude, and you need help. If I help you set an appointment, dude, that's yours all day, bro. You know?
In the car business, they would always reward the week because they don't want to have to pay them like commit or hourly or something like that. So they would always like whenever they like one of the managers had like an extra deal, they would give it to like someone that was really weak on the squad. And here it's completely different. We're rewarding those that are hustling, you know, and you know, because we're leading from the front. At the end of the day, the way that we hold each other accountable is we have a big group chat. And every time we set an appointment, we're sending it in there. We're getting everyone hyped. You know, we're keeping a good energy, good momentum. If we see like a quote or something like that, or like something on Instagram that's like some advice and some tips and stuff like that, we'll send it in on the chat. You know, trying to just constantly give people, give our guys like tools and stuff like that and things that they could say, quick little one-liners, anything that it is. You know, we're just trying to constantly just add value to their lives, add value to our lives, and just, you know, be a more valuable person. The more skills I learn, the more valuable I become.
Yeah.
If somebody's not willing to be accountable, if they're not willing to put in the time and the energy to make this job happen, how do you know when it's time to cut them loose and not keep trying to develop them and try to push them to do something they're not going to do? A, that's the first part of the question. And then B, how do you make sure that you replace them? Because once they're gone, all of a sudden you're back to square one. You're back by yourself.
But
again.
if they're not producing, it's not like it matters anyways, you know, because that's wasted energy you're investing into someone that's not reciprocating it, you know? So I would say I give someone about 90 days. I think you really, truly need to have 90 days in a sales job to really build your pipeline and get customers, because unfortunately, you're not going to sell every single person that you talk to. But if you do a really good job and you leave, like, you know, sometimes some information, sometimes they'll call you. I mean, it's very rare, but, you know, sometimes you get some deals. I got my first deal off rep card from, like, some lady I knocked on her door in February. And she's like, oh, it's finally time. And she sent me her bill, her breakdown, her costs like for everything. I was like, dang, I was like, I know this is a deal, you know. She told me like it's finally time. So I went in there not even like I'm not gonna give her any other option. It's just, you know, she told me she's
It's
ready.
finally time.
Yeah.
It's finally time. you know?
Exactly.
Love it.
It's like music to our ears.
I just got a call right before we walked in here. You know,
Referral?
No. A guy I sat with last week, and normally he's like, I thought you were gonna follow up with me, and he called me to follow up with me. Love it. You know, like there you go.
That's a happy call.
left
Those,
it
those
there,
are
yeah.
calls you like
He said,
receiving.
I thought you was gonna call me on Wednesday. I was
Those
like,
are
oh,
good
must have been
calls.
next Wednesday.
We talked about creating loyalty by leading from the front and putting in that time and earning their respect. Anything else that you guys try to do to create that loyalty with your teams and build that team culture?
I tell my guys every day I'll bleed for them. Like those are my brothers. I'll do anything for them. You know, if they do anything for me, I'll do anything for them. Like, you know, sometimes I had some guys that didn't have cars. I'll go pick them up. I'll go out of my way. You know, when we're going out and we're grinding and stuff like that, like my mentor Jeff used to do for me. Like I was broke when I first started doing this, and he would feed me and stuff like that, make sure that I was fed. We'd go out to eat. He like, don't even worry about it, brother. Like I got you, you know? So just taking care of your team and just doing whatever for them, team bonding. The other night I had my guys come through to my house and we were watching some Andy Elliott videos and we're grinding, and then we said like a nice prayer after, you know, and then we're just cool, having a good time.
Love
The camaraderie, you know, it felt good. And then like we also started writing out 10 tasks that we're going to do every single day that are going to help us get accomplish like 10 bullet points that you need to hit, something that's going to help you get to where you want to go. And you got to win the day by at least 80%. So we started just doing this the other day, and everyone's been writing it out like, hey, what are your 10 tasks? You know, and then we'll send it into the group chat so everyone could hold each other accountable. Like, hey, where you at for the day? You know, last night they're like, oh, I'm almost done. I'm like, oh, I'm not done yet. You know, it was my idea. I better start finishing my stuff, you know?
That's solid. Give me a couple examples. What would you put on that list of 10?
I would say, hey, you know, read my 10 pages for the day, sit there. That could be one bullet point. Or 30 minutes of personal development, get my workout in, make sure I clean my room, you know, just things that are just going to help you feel good. And, you know, just simple little things like that.
Awesome.
Gratitude walk, or, you know, whatever it is.
Dude, it's all those little victories.
Exactly.
That lead
It's
to
the
big
compound
victories.
effect. So and I didn't really know what that meant, you know, and so just all the little small dubs, like you're saying, you know, they all equal up, you know. There's this rapper that I like, his name's Larry June. He always says, small numbers add up.
Love it.
For somebody, last question, guys. For somebody that is wanting to level up, they want to go from third gear to fifth gear. They want to go from Mach 9 to Mach 10. What would you tell them when they're like, all right, I'm ready to do this?
I love it. I was just watching what kind of like in essence is what Andy Elliott just said. He's like, hey, I got someone that'll make you a millionaire. Come here. And he say, go look in the mirror. There you go. Right? You got to just strive. You got to work for it. You have the control of your life in this job. And if you want to get it from third to fifth gear, you need to get out there and start working. You know, no excuses. We all can make excuses all day. It's someone's birthday. I want to go eat. I'm going to hang out with my girlfriend, whatever. Get out there and work. You're going to make your success. And you need to work off the door as well. You need to do training videos, role playing. That's going to make you better when you get on the doors. It's going to make your numbers better for appointments. You literally you need to get out there and do it. You know,
It's like being an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just what, you know, if you go to practice every day, you'll be good. But if you want to be great, it's what you do behind closed doors when no one's watching. Those extra workouts, you wake up early in the morning before practice and go on a run and stuff like that. It's the same thing. You can't just train on the doors. You know, like, yeah, obviously in-person training, on the job training is important, but it's what you're doing behind closed doors. When you're driving to the area, are you listening to an audio program instead of listening to some music that's not teaching you anything? If anything, it's just making it worse for you, you know, in your subconscious mind. So that's one thing that I've done too, is I've completely like eliminated music in my car. Like sometimes I'll go on like little tangents where I'll just delete the whole Apple Music app off my phone, and I'll just only listen to podcasts and stuff like that. And then, you know, sometimes I'm like, all right, I need some music in my life again. But
I need one song. Like I listen to the neighborhood, but then I need one song just to get the blood going. Let's go. You know, get out there and get it. You know.
I got you.
But I love it. He for the longest time I didn't. One thing I implemented this year too is well, more towards the end of last year, is doing a lot more training, doing a lot more audio books and listening to all these trainings and stuff, which has helped me out a lot. Especially closing is a whole new animal, and I try to watch something and listen to stuff every single day. That's why I wake up. I'm a routine guy. I literally do the same stuff every day, and I just started waking up a little bit earlier. And started, you know, watching videos. That's how I start my day now, is at least watching at least 5-10 minutes of something, and then going about the rest of my day. Watching more as I go throughout the day, obviously. Yeah.
And then to go back to your question too, sorry. One thing I would say to get to that next gear is you cannot have an ego. When I came here, I was used to being the top salesman. Like I'll go to any dealership and I'll sell anyone there. Like I fear nobody on the sales floor, right? But when I came here, I got humbled. You know, you got Luke over here throwing up mad numbers. I'm like, dang, you know. So it's just being humble, not having any entitlement, and just really like just being coachable. And if you could really do that and you're willing to do whatever it takes, then you'll be able to be successful. You know, it's just.
I remember him telling me that too. He's like, man, I'm used to being the best. And I'm coming here and these guys, I was like, oh, it was frustrating them. But then you just learn to accept it and like it a lot, actually. Because again, it's like I love Fusion because it's like a friendly competition between us. I'm constantly looking at box scores, like, all right, who's next?
Yeah.
Who am I going to get
whack
above
next on that list?
I'm like looking at Mike. I don't tell him this. I'm like, all right, what do I got to do to get ahead of Mike
He ain't
right
touching
now?
me.
What's up?
He ain't touching me, Jared.
Yeah, we're going to see at the end of the year. You know?
Let's go.
It's all friendly, though. I love it, you know?
You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you guys being here today. I hope listeners, I hope that you've paid attention and heard some of these awesome nuggets that these guys have shared. We shared with you their stats. These things do not happen by accident. This stuff is absolutely on purpose, and these guys have committed to making these changes, and they're getting the results out of it. You guys are going to be the future leaders of Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
You're already there. You're on the road, and we sure appreciate everything that you guys have done. We appreciate your attitudes. We appreciate your examples. We appreciate your grind. It definitely does not go unseen.
Hey, we appreciate you too, Jared.
Yeah.
Like I've worked for a lot of sales bosses, and I've had some crazy ones, and it's nice to have some solid dudes that are down to earth, that are like all about their family. I look up to you guys. You know, you have a beautiful family and stuff like that. You're a great father, and you know I like being around those types of people. Luke's a great father. Tyler's a great father. All you guys. You know, so I look up to you guys,
awesome.
and I'm glad to be a part of that. I want to be something like that one day. You know. So
Thank you.
and that's not just to stroke your ego. I mean that 100%.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
I love this company, and it comes into you guys lead by example. The stuff you guys do,
Yeah.
and it motivates us as well, and it gives us confidence. Gives us confidence to know like who we're actually working for, and I love it.
Awesome. Family first.
sir.
We're all in together, right?
And we're
all
loyal to this
doing
company. People
Loyal.
trying to recruit us all the time
All
on
the
social
time.
media, everywhere. We ain't going nowhere.
Love it.
Big Fusion Power, baby.
Thank you for being part of the podcast today, you guys. I want to thank my guests. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week on the Fusion Power Podcast. Peace out.
Peace out.
Later.